From the OUTV Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, California, this is Brief News Brief, a brief look at today's trending news topics, proudly combating the thought police since 2016. Here's your host, James Heaney.
I'm James Heaney, and this is your Brief News Briefing. This morning, Jared Kushner had a meeting with senators on Capitol Hill in order to testify to the Intel Committee about Russia. It lasted more than 3 hours behind closed doors. Tomorrow, Paul Manafort has been subpoenaed to do the same. Ooh, how exciting! Last week, Trump did an interview with the New York Times when he began his official fuck-off campaign to his Attorney General, Jeff Sessions. Trump has been reported to be disappointed in Sessions since Sessions recused himself from the Russian investigation back in the spring. Today, Trump's new communication director, Smoochie Scaramucci, predicted that there would soon be movement on Sessions' future. Yesterday, Trump gave a speech to a big crowd of Boy Scouts. Mr. Trump would like to emphasize how big a crowd of Boy Scouts it was. He said, the press is going to say this was a teeny tiny group of Boy Scouts, but that's fake news. So here at Brief News Brief, we will concur. He spoke to a big crowd of little boys. Well, we actually have no idea how many Boy Scouts there were, but the thing that's sure is it was a huge crowd of teeny tiny boys. Trump began his remarks promising not to talk about politics, which was a huge relief to the little boys. But then he continued to say that Washington, D.C. was a swamp and a sewer, immediately making them think of the Ninja Turtles. And then he talked about the jobs report, which made them completely lose interest. How many people were going to be saying Merry Christmas, and then the little boys in the crowd were thinking about their Christmas list to Santa Claus? And again, he brought up funding to military, health care votes, and the most amazing night on television. And all the boys were excited. They were like, oh, my mom and dad don't let me watch Game of Thrones. Fill me in on the spoilers. I don't care, Trump. And he said, no. The great night on TV, it was November 8th, his election. Senator Susan Collins, Republican of Maine, was caught on a hot mic Tuesday expressing concern over President Trump's mental health and was questioning his understanding of the budget process. Reid, next to her, responded by saying to Collins of Trump, he's crazy. Collins can be heard quietly saying, I'm worried. But that hot mic picked up an even more bizarre exchange. Here's what she had to say in regards to Texas Representative Blake Farenthold. Did you hear him challenge me to a duel? Collins said. And the male senator next to her, I don't think this was Reid, I think it was somebody else, he joked with him saying, you could beat the shit out of him. Now, if you're not familiar with this was said because Farenthold said that he wanted to handle his differences with Collins Aaron Burr style. And if you're not familiar with what Aaron Burr style it means to shoot someone to death. Collins said in her response to this is, he's so unattractive, it's unbelievable. And then she added, did you see that picture of him in his pajamas? Which should surprise no one because in Washington these days, that's business as usual. The Senate held a procedural vote today on health care, allowing the debate to begin on repealing and replacing the Affordable Care Act. Senator John McCain arrived dramatically at the Capitol today, despite a diagnosis of brain cancer, to cast his vote on whether to begin this debate on the legislation to repeal the Affordable Care Act. A Texas remodeler renovating a Bank of America inadvertently imprisoned himself for 2 hours, sans a smartphone, inside a drive-through ATM machine. His hopeless hollers for help were unheeded. He passed a pleading paper through the ATM slot, and a surprised subscriber summoned the sheriff. Officers ruminated it was a ridiculous ruse, but when they heard hushed hails, they kicked in the cash points cover and liberated the luckless loser who, in this reporter's opinion, was literally too into his work. And now it's your time to chime, and chime you did. I first want to point out, and I'm not being facetious, there was a good deal of bravery in one of the subscribers, Memberberry. I think his name is just Member, and he said some names of some people with huge numbers of subscribers, and then posted Brief News Brief last of 3 with the 2,300 subscribers that we have. And This is where it gets to the meat of what he's saying. He says, come on, James, we can get this stuff from any bought and paid for TV host. Jump off the liberal crazy train. So I want to say I disagree with him, that I'm not just some paid for TV host, bought and paid for, because I'm not getting paid for it. And I don't think I'm on a liberal crazy train. I really believe that the things that I'm bringing to you are, at the very least, grounded in fact. It might seem crazy, but they're pretty close to fact. But thank you for being the catalyst for other people chiming in. And I do appreciate your comment. And I appreciate it equally with these that came forward and said some things that really gave me encouragement to keep going forward. Because yes, I know that the subscribers is not bigger. And I would say the even bigger criticism I see is the view count is not as high as I'd like it to be. But this is something I want to do, and I want to get better at, and I want to make it the best quality I can. So when I hear these following encouraging words, I have to say that it really helps. It pushes me. It drives me. Mega Fallout fan said, let him do what he wants. And then there's a bad word. I'm not going to repeat it. I don't appreciate that word. I don't even know who those guys are, but I know who James is. I'd rather hear it from James. It sparked some good energy in me. I didn't like the C word, but it sparked some good energy. And then Dinah Cross, keep speaking your mind. You're doing a great job. Thank you. I'm going to keep speaking my mind. And then a great speech here from Rock Lobster. I love you, James. I haven't kept up with you for a while, but it is great to see you're still making videos regularly. Today I randomly remembered the story of you being cursed and the lights on the bus leaking on you. It's true. There's lots of stories that have to do with the curse, and I remember that. I was on a bus, a city bus, and there was water dripping out of a fluorescent bulb into my hair. It's the curse. He's sending some good vibes my way to fight it off, which is appreciated always, and goes on to talk about me doing the dishes and the different things I've done in the past. Very encouraging. I appreciate it. And on top of that, spoke about eating the Brussels sprouts recipe that I've made tons of times, and the family loves it. That made my day, honestly. All of these comments I was very much appreciated too, because I want it to be a dialogue, even if we don't agree on things. I prefer not to use the C word, but Mega Fallout fan, I love you. I'm not going to give you too hard a time, but the C word was a little rough.